All right, so and this is Resolution 31 on democratic reform, which proposes the party further study alternative electoral processes, including proportional representation or preferential ballot, and to open up the party electoral process.
I have been asked to present Resolution 31 because it comes from the National Caucus and was the subject of a lot of work within that caucus by members of caucus and by the leader. It reflects the input that we have all received from Canadians from coast to coast in this country about things that need to be fixed in the functioning of our democracy. And we've seen huge abuses by the Harper government in terms of democratic process. You'll find that this resolution is divided in two parts. The first part lists 10 specific remedial actions that we think need to be taken urgently. And those are in response to a vast number of specific abuses committed by the Harper government. It is important that we have an agenda in the next election where we can lay out in detail how we will fix what Harper has done so badly and so wrongly for our democracy. The second part of the resolution at the end proposes that we should have a study, once we form the Government of Canada, a study of various ways in which our electoral system itself can be amended and changed. That might be preferential ballot. That might be proportional representation. It might be something else entirely. But we need to give Canadians a chance to have an adult conversation about the topic and then move forward.
Are we doing time? Thank you. Merci. So, first of all, let me tell you, we will only be accepting 2 for and 2 against. On n'accepte que 2 pour et 2 contre. Le contre.
So those against on my right, on your left, and those in favour over here. So 1 against. Your name, please, and your riding.
I'm Matthew Powell. I'm from Burlington. I'd love to thank Ralph for his hard work on this resolution and thank the caucus for their consultations. There are some very good ideas in here, but I have a real concern about the final part. In particular, those of us who were here or in Ottawa in 2012, we passed a resolution that established as this party's policy a preferential ballot, which is a very achievable reform that would change democracy in this country and fits in well with our established process and parliamentary system and traditions. And it appears to me that we may be moving from having a policy to having a policy to make a policy. We've gone from saying we will give you preferential ballot to saying we will go out there and think about reform. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, do I have somebody who wishes to speak for? Quelqu'un qui veut parler pour la résolution?
Thank you. Joyce Murray, Member of Parliament, Vancouver Quadra. So I just want to address the comment that had just been made. Yes, we did have a policy at our last convention. This takes it a step further and engages Canadians in the conversation. And that is true to the kind of approach that our leader wants to take. He wants to include the country, include Canadians in the decisions. So there has been a real erosion of our democracy, and there is a huge appetite for this conversation right across the country. I experienced that as my part in the leadership race, and I want those people that want that conversation to vote Liberal. So let's give them that opportunity.
Thank you very much. Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un contre? Does somebody want to?
Anybody against?
Thank you.
Martin Laplante, Ottawa-Vanier.
Laplante, Ottawa-Vanier. Resolution 31 sends us into an election. Perhaps what we said, yes, perhaps the opposite. It's not the right way to go into election. Perhaps we'll follow the policy of the Liberal Party or perhaps the NDP's policy. So preferential ballot is our policy. This is the way we choose our own leader. It forces members to work together because unless they get the vote of 50% of the community, they can't become a member.
Distinctively liberal solution, and make no mistake, this is not just a study, it's not coming back to us, it's abandoning control to external bodies, to other parties as to how voting will take place, and these other parties don't mind if voting becomes more partisan, more divisive. So I urge caucus, whether this passes or not.
Thank you. Your 1 minute is up. Thank you. Final speaker in favor of?
Oui. Stéphane Dion, député de Saint-Laurent-Cartier.
Stéphane Dion, Saint-Laurent-Cartierville.
Not only for the Liberal Party of Canada, it's for all Canadians. First point. Deux questions. Est-ce qu'il est possible qu'on découvre un meilleur système électoral pour le Canada? Et est-il possible qu'on le fasse avec les Canadiens? Si vous répondez oui, votez pour cette résolution. So, two questions. Is there a possibility that we may discover a better electoral system for Canada than the one we have now? And are we good to discover it in an intensive debate and conversation with Canadians? If you say yes to these two, vote for this resolution.
Thank you very much.
I agree with Mr. Trudeau. We should avoid long, anonymous lists, partisan lists, and we'll need to strengthen territorial representation. It's doable. Let's talk about it.
Merci beaucoup, Ms. Lyon. That ends the debate portion of this. I will now call the vote. Those in favor of this resolution, please raise your hands. Those against? Thank you very much. It passes. You can come back now, Ralph.